All right, so are you ready to unlock some serious people reading skills? Today, we're diving into Hu.
Okay.
It's a fascinating Chinese text that translates roughly to Masters of Understanding People.
Ah, I love it.
And we've got excerpts from this text, and it blends ancient wisdom with modern psychology
Cool.
to help us understand different personality types
Yes.
and figure out people's hidden motives, all that good stuff.
Yeah, it's about taking these ancient insights and really applying them to like your own life.
Yeah.
Whether you're, building a team or navigating tricky relationships
Right.
or just want to become like a better judge of character.
Yeah, for sure.
This deep dive is for you.
The text starts with this really interesting story about two friends,
Oh,
Bo Ya and Zhang Ziki,
okay.
and their understanding of each other was said to be as harmonious as mountains and flowing water.
Wow.
Like, it sounds incredibly poetic, but it makes you wonder
Yeah,
how much of that deep connection was based on, like, their personalities.
it's a great question. And the text uses this story to launch into a discussion about how personality
Yeah.
shapes our relationships.
Right.
It even touches upon the D4DR gene and its influence on whether someone is more extroverted or introverted,
Interesting.
which is where we see this blend of ancient philosophy and modern science.
That's so cool, yeah.
But to really break down different personality types, it introduces this model called the 9 NE types.
Okay, 9 personality types. That's a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
So for our listener, can you give us a quick rundown of how this system works?
Absolutely. Each NE type represents like a different core motivation and worldview.
Okay.
For example, type 1,
Okay.
the perfectionist,
Yeah.
is driven by a need for order and has very high standards.
I know a few of those.
And this makes them like principled and reliable, but they can also be,
Right.
critical and controlling in relationships.
Yeah, I can see that.
Then you have type 2, the helper, is all about empathy and putting others' needs first, which makes them incredibly caring and generous,
Yeah.
but they might neglect their own needs in the process.
Oh, I see.
And then we have type 3, the achiever.
Okay.
They're driven by success and recognition,
Hmm.
making them ambitious and charming.
Yeah.
But sometimes they might prioritize image over authenticity.
It's amazing how accurately these types describe people we know.
Right.
But how can understanding the innate types actually help someone in their daily life?
It's all about self-awareness and understanding others.
Oh, okay.
Imagine you're working on a project
Yeah.
with a type 1, the perfectionist.
Okay.
Knowing this, you can anticipate their need for like structure and detailed plans.
Mm-hmm.
You'll understand why they might be critical of certain ideas.
Yeah.
And you can approach feedback in a way that, resonates with them.
So it's not just about labeling people,
No.
but about understanding their motivations.
Right.
And like adapting your communication style. It's
Yeah.
like having a cheat sheet for better interactions.
Exactly.
What about the other types?
Let's take type 4, the individualist.
Okay.
They are deeply in touch with their emotions and strive to be unique.
Oh.
Their strength lies in their creativity and introspection,
Mm-hmm.
but they can also be prone to mood swings and feeling misunderstood.
Oh, I see.
So if you're collaborating with a type 4,
Yeah.
it's important to create a space where they feel safe to express,
Yeah.
their individuality and appreciate their emotional depth.
So much of this is about creating a sense of understanding and empathy, isn't it?
It absolutely is.
Yep.
Now, type 5, the investigator, values knowledge and independence.
Okay.
They are incredibly observant and insightful,
Yeah.
but can be detached and struggle with vulnerability.
Okay.
When working with a type 5, give them space to process information independently
Yeah.
and appreciate their intellectual contributions.
It sounds like knowing these Anita types can help you tailor your approach to different individuals,
Mhm.
making for smoother collaborations and more fulfilling relationships.
Exactly. And there's 6 more types,
Wow.
each with its own unique set of strengths and weaknesses.
Right.
Remember, none of these types are inherently good or bad.
Yeah.
It's about understanding the underlying motivations and tendencies that drive people's behavior.
For sure. Now, the text doesn't stop at personality types.
No.
It delves into this fascinating concept of discerning character.
Okay.
It even quotes Zhu Liang, the brilliant strategist, who says there are 7 ways to understand people.
Oh, wow.
These 7 methods are all about observing someone's reactions in different situations
Okay.
to gain a deeper understanding of their character.
Interesting.
For example, one of the methods is Ji Michael San,
Okay.
which means pushing them with arguments to observe their adaptability.
Oh, okay.
So it's like testing their flexibility and seeing how they think on their feet.
I like that.
Do you have another example?
Another method is shugusan,
Okay.
which means informing them of dangers to observe their courage.
Right.
This isn't about recklessness, but about assessing how someone responds to pressure and uncertainty.
Mm-hmm.
Do they panic, or do they remain calm and resourceful?
These methods sound incredibly insightful, but also a
Yeah.
little tricky to apply in everyday life.
Yeah.
How would someone actually put these into practice?
Think about it in terms of real-world scenarios.
Okay.
Imagine you're considering someone for, a leadership role.
Yeah.
To assess their courage and adaptability,
Mm-hmm.
you might present them with a hypothetical challenge,
Okay.
a crisis situation
Yeah.
that requires quick thinking and decisive action.
Okay, I like that.
Observe how they respond. Do they rise to the occasion, or do they crumble under pressure?
That's a great example. It's about creating situations,
Yeah.
even small ones,
Yeah,
that allow you to observe these key character traits.
exactly.
And it's not just about observing reactions, right?
Right.
The text also emphasizes the importance of understanding someone's aspirations.
Yes. It tells the story of Zhuge Liang recruiting Jiang Wei,
Okay.
a young general,
Yeah.
by appealing to his aspirations.
Interesting.
Zhuge Liang recognized Jiang Wei's ambition and desire to make a meaningful contribution
Mm-hmm.
and used that to motivate him.
It sounds like a powerful way to connect with someone, understand their motivations, and
Yeah.
even inspire them to reach their full potential.
Absolutely.
Mm.
And it ties into this idea that aspirations act as a self-motivating mechanism.
Yeah.
When you understand what someone truly desires,
Yeah.
you can tap into that inner drive.
So we've talked about personality, character,
Yes.
and aspirations.
Yes.
It's amazing how much insight this ancient text offers.
It is.
But now the text takes a bit of a darker turn. It warns us to be wary of those smooth talkers,
Okay.
the ones who might not have the best intentions.
Right. The text uses the term war,
Okay.
which refers to individuals who are manipulative and deceptive.
I see.
Think of them as like wolves in sheep's clothing.
Okay, so how do we spot these wolves
Okay.
before they pull the wool over our eyes?
Yeah.
The text uses the story of Emperor Jia and Hessian to illustrate this, right?
It does.
Okay.
Hessian was a powerful official in Emperor Jiking's court.
Mm-hmm.
He was charismatic,
Yeah.
charming, and seemingly loyal.
Okay.
But beneath that facade,
Yeah.
he was corrupt and self-serving.
Oh, wow.
The emperor, however, was not fooled.
What did the Emperor do to see through Hessian's charade? It sounds like a real-life spy thriller.
The emperor was incredibly observant.
Okay.
He started noticing inconsistencies
Yeah.
between Hessian's words and actions.
Oh, interesting.
Hessian would lavish the emperor with praise,
Mm-hmm.
but then act in ways that contradicted that supposed loyalty.
So classic red flag alert. Actions speak louder than words, right?
Exactly. And the emperor didn't stop there.
Okay.
He started paying close attention to how Hessian treated others,
Yeah.
especially those with less power.
Right.
He noticed patterns of manipulative behavior,
Mhm.
flattery, backstabbing,
Wow.
and exploiting others for personal gain.
That's incredibly insightful. It's like the Emperor was a master of reading people.
He was.
Wow.
And the text emphasizes that we can all cultivate this ability to discern character.
Mm-hmm.
It's about being observant,
Yeah.
paying attention to those subtle inconsistencies between words and actions,
Right.
and recognizing those red flags of manipulative behavior.
So we need to be cautious about who we trust,
Yeah.
especially when personal interests are at stake.
Right. The text suggests maintaining emotional distance from individuals who exhibit these behaviors.
Okay.
Set clear boundaries and observe how they respond when their interests are challenged or when they don't get their way.
This is such practical advice.
Ah.
The text doesn't just warn us about these, quote unquote villains,
Yeah.
but it gives us tools to protect ourselves.
Exactly.
It's almost like a self-defense guide for navigating the social world.
It is, and that brings us to another layer of understanding people, decoding behavior through the lens of the three views.
Okay, tell our listener about this concept of three views.
The three views refer to a person's worldview,
Okay.
outlook on life,
Yeah.
and values.
Okay.
The text argues that these deeply ingrained beliefs heavily influence our actions.
Mm-hmm.
To illustrate this,
Yeah.
it shares the story of Qin Mi and Zhang Wen.
Okay, tell us about this story.
Yeah.
How did their three views come into play?
So Qin was a minister in the Shuhan Kingdom,
Mm-hmm.
and Zhang Wen was an envoy from the rival kingdom of Eastern Wu.
Okay.
When they met, a clash arose, not just from their political affiliations,
Yeah.
but from their, deeply held beliefs.
Oh, interesting.
Qin firmly believed in the legitimacy of the Shuhan Kingdom,
Okay.
while Zhang Wen held a dismissive attitude towards it.
So it wasn't just a random disagreement.
Right.
It stemmed from their fundamental values and how they saw the world.
Exactly. Their differing three views colored their entire interaction.
Shaping their arguments, their reactions, and even their body language.
This is reminding me of those times when you just can't seem to see eye to eye with someone,
Yeah,
no matter how hard you try.
exactly.
It makes me wonder, how can we use this concept of three views
Yeah.
to improve our interactions?
It's about recognizing that sometimes disagreements aren't just about the issue at hand,
Right.
but about deeper underlying beliefs.
Yeah.
By understanding someone's three views, you can better understand their perspective,
Yeah.
even if you don't agree with it.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
It's about moving beyond surface-level disagreements
Right.
to understand the deeper motivations and beliefs driving people's actions.
Exactly.
So how do we go about understanding someone's three views? It's not like they wear a badge that says, "This is my worldview."
Yeah. You're right. It takes careful observation and a willingness to listen, really listen
Yeah.
to what people are saying,
Yeah.
and even more importantly, how they're saying it. It's like being a detective looking for clues in their words, their actions, their reactions to different situations.
Exactly. And it's not about judging their three views as right or wrong, but about understanding where they're coming from.
Yeah.
This can lead to more empathy,
Right.
more productive conversations,
Yeah.
and even stronger connections
Yeah.
despite those differences.
This is gold. I feel like we could spend hours unpacking this concept alone.
Me too.
But for now, let's move on to another crucial point.
Okay.
Overcoming first impressions.
Yes.
The text opens this section with a quote that really stood out to me.
Oh, yeah.
Ungul's.
Beautiful.
Hey, P. Fireflies may glow, but they're not fire. Dewdrops on lotus leaves may shimmer, but they are not pearls.
I love that. It's a beautiful way of saying don't be fooled by appearances.
Exactly.
And to further drive this point home,
Yeah.
the text tells the story of Zhu Fengao, the horse expert, who could identify a prize steed even when its outward appearance didn't match expectations. He looked beyond the surface, focusing on the horse's gait,
Yeah.
its temperament, its inner qualities.
It's like those talent shows where someone walks onto the stage and you
Yeah.
think, there's no way they can sing.
Right.
And then they belt out an incredible performance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It challenges our assumptions and reminds us to keep an open mind.
Yeah.
This is where understanding psychological concepts like the primacy effect and the halo effect
Yeah.
can be really helpful.
Okay, let's break those down for our listener.
Sure.
What are the primacy effect and the halo effect? And how do they come into play in our judgments of others?
The primacy effect basically means that we tend to give more weight to the information we receive first.
Okay.
It's like our brains latch onto that initial impression
Yeah.
and use it as a filter for everything that follows.
Oh, interesting.
The halo effect is similar.
Okay.
It's when our initial impression, positive or negative, colors how we perceive everything else about that person.
So first impressions really matter,
Yes.
but they can also be misleading.
Yeah.
How do we avoid falling into these traps? Because it sounds incredibly hard to overcome these, ingrained biases.
It takes conscious effort.
Okay.
First, you need to be aware that these biases exist.
Yeah.
Then, when you meet someone new, try to actively seek out information that challenges your initial impression.
So if your first impression is negative, look for positive qualities.
Yes.
And if your first impression is overly positive, don't be afraid to see their flaws as well.
Yes. Remember, everyone is a mix of strengths and weaknesses.
Right.
It's about getting a balanced and nuanced view of the person,
Yeah.
not just relying on that first impression.
This is such great advice.
Yeah.
It's about being mindful of our own biases and actively working to see people for who they truly are,
Yeah.
not just who we initially perceive them to be.
Exactly. It's about cultivating that open-mindedness and recognizing that everyone has something valuable to offer,
Yes.
even if it's not immediately apparent.
And that brings us to the end of this part of our deep dive into the masters of understanding people.
I know.
We've covered a lot of ground.
Much.
Personality types,
Yes.
discerning character, overcoming first impressions. I feel like I've learned so much already.
Me too.
We'll be back soon to continue our exploration.
Sounds great.
Me too.
Welcome back to our deep dive into masters of understanding people.
Oh, I'm so excited to continue this. In the last part, we talked about like decoding behavior, being wary of, sweet talkers, and that whole idea of looking beyond first impressions.
Right.
What's next on our journey of understanding people?
So the text shifts gears a bit and focuses on these three key elements of all interpersonal relationships, really cognition, emotion, and behavior.
Gotcha.
So cognition is like our perception of the other person. Emotion encompasses our feelings towards them, and behavior is how we act towards them.
That makes sense. So it's about how we think about someone, how we feel about them, and then how those thoughts and feelings translate into our actions.
Exactly.
Okay.
But what's fascinating is that emotion often acts as like the driving force in personal relationships.
Oh, interesting.
Think about it. We're drawn to people who make us feel good,
Yeah.
who evoke positive emotions in us.
We all know that feeling when you meet someone and you just click.
Right.
There's that spark, that sense of connection.
Exactly. And on the flip side,
Yeah.
we might feel repelled by someone who evokes negative emotions, even if we can't quite pinpoint why.
It's like that saying, I don't know what it is about them, but I just don't trust them.
Right. Our emotions often guide our interactions, sometimes even more than, our rational thoughts.
That's so true.
Yeah.
So how does this understanding of cognition, emotion, and behavior help us build, stronger relationships?
The text highlights the importance of compatibility
Yeah.
in three views,
Right.
which we discussed earlier.
Right. Worldview, outlook on life.
Exactly.
Very lots of that.
Values.
Yes.
When your three views align with someone else's, it creates this, foundation for shared understanding and emotional connection.
It's like finding those puzzle pieces that fit together seamlessly.
Yes.
But it's not just about compatibility, right?
Right.
The text also stresses the importance of shared interests.
Absolutely.
Common hobbies.
Yes.
Those things provide a natural springboard for connection and create opportunities for, shared experiences and positive emotions.
Exactly.
It's like that instant camaraderie you feel when you meet someone who loves the same obscure band.
Right.
Or geeks out about the same hobby as you.
Exactly. And those shared interests can evolve into, deeper bonds over time.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Strong friendships often start with, a shared activity or a common interest.
That makes so much sense. It's like that shared interest provides a spark, and then the connection grows from there.
Precisely. Now, the text also dives into this fascinating area of confidence versus arrogance.
Okay.
It tells the story of Mao Sui, who confidently volunteered for a diplomatic mission despite not being, initially chosen.
This sounds like someone who knew their worth and wasn't afraid to,
Yes.
step up and take on a challenge.
Exactly. And his story beautifully illustrates this concept of self-efficacy,
Okay.
a term coined by psychologist Albert Bandura.
Okay.
Self-efficacy is that, deep-seated belief in your own abilities, that inner confidence
Yeah.
that allows you to, take risks and persevere even when faced with obstacles.
Or like that inner voice that says, I can do this, even when everyone else is doubting you.
Precisely. But the text is careful to distinguish between true confidence and arrogance.
Okay.
Arrogance is that, inflated sense of self-importance that need to prove you're better than everyone else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Confidence, on the other hand, is quiet and understated.
Okay.
It's about knowing your strengths,
Yeah.
but also recognizing your limitations.
So true confidence is grounded in humility.
Exactly. The text highlights the importance of self-awareness,
Yeah.
recognizing both your strengths and your weaknesses.
Right.
It's about being competent, but also collaborative, willing to learn from others and celebrate their successes.
We all know those people who are super talented,
Yes.
but also incredibly humble and easy to work with. They inspire trust and make collaboration a joy.
Yes. They embody that balance of confidence and humility. And the text argues that those are the individuals you want to surround yourself with.
Right.
The ones who will lift you up and inspire you to reach your full potential.
Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about another way to read people.
Okay?
Paying close attention to instinctive reactions.
Yeah.
Especially under pressure.
Right.
The text brings up Zheng Guofan, a renowned Qing dynasty official, known for his exceptional judgment.
Go ahead.
Zheng Guofan believed that observing someone's, unguarded moments revealed their true character.
Oh, interesting.
He would often put people in, challenging situations or create scenarios that tested their limits.
Nice.
It's like that saying, you don't really know someone until you've been through a crisis with them.
Right.
But how did Zheng Guofan actually assess people? It's not like he had a lie detector test.
He had a keen eye for detail and a deep understanding of human nature.
Okay.
He was known for saying, listen to their words, measure their aspirations, observe their actions, assess their capabilities, analyze their work, discern their talents, and hear their reputation, examine their character.
He was basically a human lie detector test.
Yeah, I like that.
So he looked at the whole picture, not just someone's words, but also their actions, their work ethic, their reputation.
Exactly. And he believed that true character was revealed not in, grand gestures, but in those small everyday moments.
It's like that saying, the true test of character is how you treat someone who can do nothing for you.
Precisely.
And Zheng Guofan also believed that virtue and talent must align for someone to be truly valuable.
Yes.
Someone might be incredibly skilled, but if their character is flawed, it's a recipe for trouble.
I agree.
So it's not just about skills. It's about integrity, honesty, and compassion. Those qualities are just as important, if not more so.
Absolutely. Now, for another fascinating insight.
Okay.
The text delves into understanding people through their passions.
Oh, this sounds intriguing.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer that someone's passions reveal a lot about who they are.
It starts with a quote from Confucius.
Oh, okay.
Knowing is not as good as loving, and loving is not as good as taking joy in something.
I love that.
The text then shares the story of Ji Kang and Ruan Ji.
Okay.
2 of the 7 sages of the Bamboo Grove, who bonded over their shared love for music.
It's like that feeling when you meet someone who geeks out about the same obscure band as you.
Yeah.
There's an instant connection, a sense of shared understanding.
Exactly. But the text goes deeper.
Okay.
Exploring the psychological role of interest.
Okay.
It argues that interest acts as an intrinsic motivator. It fuels our desire to explore, learn, and understand.
It's like that inner spark that drives us to pursue something we're passionate about, whether it's music, art, sports, or even a particular field of study.
Exactly. And by observing someone's long-term interests and hobbies, you can gain incredible insights into their personality, their habits, and their values.
So interesting.
For instance, someone who's passionate about fitness might demonstrate discipline.
Right.
And a commitment to self-improvement.
Yeah.
Someone who loves to travel might be adventurous and open to new experiences.
So hobbies aren't just idle pursuits. They're windows into someone's soul.
They are.
I like that.
And understanding someone's passions can help you connect with them on a deeper level, appreciate their unique perspective, and even predict their future behavior.
No, the text also delves into something that's incredibly relevant in today's world.
What's that?
Psychological defense mechanisms.
Ah, okay.
These are those mental strategies we all use, often unconsciously, to protect ourselves from emotional distress.
Right.
The text tells the story of Su Qin,
Okay.
a brilliant strategist who convinced 6 warring states to unite against the Qin dynasty.
Wow.
Imagine the psychological defenses he had to overcome to achieve that feat.
That's incredible.
He must have encountered resistance, skepticism, maybe even outright hostility.
He did. And to persuade those rulers, he likely had to address their fears, their doubts, and their ingrained beliefs.
Right.
He had to navigate those psychological barriers to get them to see his vision.
So what are some common defense mechanisms we should be aware of?
Okay.
I feel like this is something we all encounter in our daily lives.
One common defense mechanism is denial.
Okay.
It's that refusal to acknowledge a reality that's too painful or difficult to face.
It's like that classic example of someone who refuses to believe their partner is cheating, even when presented with overwhelming evidence.
Exactly. Then there's repression.
Okay.
Where we push unpleasant thoughts or feelings deep down into our subconscious so we don't have to deal with them.
Just sweeping things under the rug, hoping they'll just magically disappear.
Right. But those repressed emotions often resurface in unhealthy ways.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So how do we deal with these defense mechanisms, both in ourselves and in others?
Self-awareness is key.
Okay.
Recognize your own defense mechanisms and how they might be, like, influencing your behavior.
Yeah.
And when interacting with others, be patient and understanding. Remember, these mechanisms are often unconscious.
It's about creating a safe space where people feel comfortable letting their guard down.
Yes.
And maybe even confronting those uncomfortable truths they've been avoiding.
Exactly. And that brings us to one of the most intriguing sections of the text.
Okay.
Waging and winning psychological battles.
Okay, this sounds intense.
Yeah.
I'm picturing epic mind games and strategic maneuvers.
This section emphasizes the importance of knowing yourself and knowing your enemy.
Yeah.
A principle often attributed to the legendary strategist Sun Tzu.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
If you understand your own strengths and weaknesses and your opponents, you can anticipate their moves and strategize accordingly.
Exactly.
Okay.
And to illustrate this principle, the text retells the famous story of Zhuge Liang's empty city stratagem.
Oh, yeah. I remember we discussed this earlier.
Remember.
In the context of observing reactions under pressure.
Yes.
Well, now we're diving deeper into the psychological tactics at play. Okay, remind our listener of the basic scenario.
So Zhuge Liang, the brilliant strategist, found himself in a precarious situation.
Oh.
He was defending a city with very few troops. While his enemy, Sima Yi, was approaching with a massive army.
Right.
Escape was impossible.
Okay, I'm on the edge of my seat.
Yeah.
What was his plan?
He ordered the city gates to be thrown open.
Wow.
And positioned himself on the city wall, calmly playing his gunju.
Okay.
As if everything was perfectly fine.
It's like he was daring Sima Yi to attack.
He was. And it was a brilliant move.
Yeah.
Sima Yi, despite having, like, the upper hand militarily, was known for his cautious nature. And his tendency to overthink things.
So Zhuge Liang played right into his psychological weaknesses.
He did. By appearing so unconcerned, Zhuge Liang created this, like, air of mystery.
Yeah.
This illusion that he had some secret weapon or a hidden trap.
It's like the classic poker strategy of bluffing.
Right.
You project confidence even when you have a weak hand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it worked brilliantly.
Okay.
Sima Yi, fearing a trap, decided to retreat rather than risk attacking what appeared to be, like, a heavily fortified city.
So Zhuge Liang won the battle without a single soldier. That's incredible.
It is. And his story highlights the power of understanding your opponent's psychology.
Right.
By knowing their fears, their motivations, their patterns of behavior. You can anticipate their actions and influence their decisions.
This is like mind reading on a strategic level.
It is. And while most of us won't find ourselves in military battles, these principles apply to, like, everyday situations as well. Negotiations, business deals, even personal relationships.
Right.
Understanding the psychology of your opponent can give you a significant advantage.
So it's about reading between the lines, observing body language, and understanding the unspoken motivations that drive people's actions.
Exactly. And that brings us to another fascinating concept. Mastering the art of influence.
All right.
This section opens with a quote from Wang Yangming.
Okay.
It is easier to defeat the bandits in the mountains than to conquer the enemies within one's own heart.
That's a powerful statement.
Yeah.
It's about overcoming your own internal obstacles, those fears, doubts, and limiting beliefs that hold you back.
Exactly. And the text uses the story of Wang Yangming's tactics during the Prince of Ning rebellion to showcase this principle.
Okay, give our listener a quick recap of this rebellion.
Yeah.
Who was Wang Yangming, and what challenges did he face?
So Wang Yangming was, like, a brilliant military strategist and philosopher. During the Prince of Ning rebellion, he was tasked with putting down a formidable uprising.
Oh, wow.
He faced a much larger rebel force, and his own troops were, like, demoralized and outnumbered.
It sounds like a truly daunting situation.
It was. But Wang Yangming was a master of, like, psychology and strategy.
Right.
He understood that victory wouldn't come solely from, like, military might.
Right.
He needed to win the psychological battle as well.
So how did he do it?
He employed a series of brilliant tactics. First, he focused on boosting the morale of his own troops. He gave inspiring speeches, emphasizing their courage and loyalty. And reminding them why they were fighting.
It's like that classic sports movie scene.
Yeah.
Where the coach gives a pep talk that fires up the team and instills a sense of belief.
Exactly. And it worked.
Okay.
His troops, once demoralized,
Yeah.
now felt like a renewed sense of purpose and determination.
Yeah, okay.
Then he turned his attention to the enemy.
Yeah.
He knew he couldn't defeat them head on,
Right.
so he decided to outsmart them.
Okay.
He spread rumors of a massive, non-existent army on his side,
Wow.
creating fear and uncertainty within the rebel ranks.
He basically psyched them out. It's like he created a phantom army that existed only in their minds.
He did, and it was incredibly effective.
Right.
The rebel leaders, now doubting their own intelligence
Yeah.
and fearing they were outnumbered,
Yeah.
began to make mistakes.
So he exploited their psychological vulnerabilities,
Yeah.
their fear and uncertainty,
Right.
to gain a strategic advantage?
Precisely. And he didn't stop there.
Okay.
He recognized that the prince's home base was undefended,
And
and he launched a surprise attack.
bold move.
It was. This bold move forced the prince to, abandon his advance and rush back to defend his territory,
Yeah.
giving Wang Yangming a critical advantage.
It's like he turned their own momentum against them.
He did. And this brings us to a key concept,
Okay.
going with the flow.
Okay.
It's not about passive acceptance,
Okay.
but about understanding the current situation, analyzing your opponent's moves,
Yeah.
and then using that momentum to your advantage.
I see.
It's about strategically adapting to changing circumstances.
All right.
And seizing opportunities as they arise.
It's like judo, using your opponent's force against them.
Exactly.
Cool.
And while Wang Yangming's story is set in, a military context,
Yeah.
these principles apply to all areas of life.
Okay.
In business, for example,
Yeah.
understanding market trends and your competitor strategies is essential for success
Right.
in personal relationships.
Yeah.
It's about being attuned to your partner's needs
Mm-hmm.
and adapting your communication style accordingly.
So it's about being adaptable, observant, and strategic in all our interactions.
Exactly. And that brings us to another fascinating section,
Okay.
negotiation as a psychological game.
Oh, okay.
The text kicks off this section with a quote
Mm-hmm.
about the importance of attacking the mind rather than the city in warfare.
This sounds like a more subtle form of warfare,
Yeah,
where words and psychology are your weapons.
it is. And to illustrate this, the text uses the story of the Chusong tactic used against Jiang Yu, a powerful warlord.
Mm-hmm.
His army was surrounded and far from home,
Mm-hmm.
so the opposing army played music from Jiang Yu's homeland,
Oh, wow.
reminding his soldiers of what they were missing
Oh, that's clever.
and how far away they were from everything they loved.
That's heartbreaking. It's like a weaponized form of nostalgia.
It was. And it was incredibly effective.
Wow.
The soldiers, hearing those familiar melodies,
Yeah.
were overcome with, homesickness and longing,
Yeah.
weakening their morale and contributing to their eventual defeat.
Wow. It's a powerful example of how emotions can be used to influence people's actions, even
Right.
in a war setting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But beyond, specific tactics like this, what's the key takeaway for our listener
Yeah.
when it comes to negotiation?
Okay.
It's about understanding that different negotiation opponents
Yeah.
require different approaches.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all approach.
No.
You need to tailor your strategy based on the person you're dealing with.
Precisely. The text suggests that you need to assess your opponent's personality
Yeah.
and adapt your style accordingly.
Right.
For instance, if you're dealing with, an aggressive opponent,
Mm-hmm.
the text suggests responding with calmness and assertiveness.
Okay.
Set clear boundaries
Yeah.
and don't be intimidated by their tactics.
So it's about meeting their aggression with a calm but firm presence.
Exactly.
What about other personality types?
Then there's the emotional opponent
Okay.
who might be driven by, fear or anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
With them, the text suggests employing empathy and active listening
Okay.
to address their underlying concerns.
Yeah.
Finally, you might encounter the analytical opponent
Okay.
who focuses on logic and data.
Right.
In this case, you'll need well-reasoned arguments,
Okay.
evidence to back up your claims,
Mm-hmm.
and a clear logical presentation.
It's like a cheat sheet for navigating different personalities at the negotiating table.
It is.
Yeah.
But it's not about manipulation.
Right.
It's about understanding your opponent's perspective
Mm-hmm.
and finding common ground.
Yeah.
even amidst differing viewpoints.
Right. It's about creating a win-win situation.
Yes.
Where both parties feel heard and respected.
Exactly. And this applies not just to formal negotiations,
Right.
but to all kinds of interactions.
So whether you're negotiating a business deal,
Yeah?
trying to convince your partner to try a new restaurant, or even mediating a disagreement between your kids,
Right.
understanding the other person's psychology is key.
Absolutely.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the masters of understanding people.
Oh, it's good to be back.
It's amazing how much ground we've covered, from like personality types to psychological warfare tactics to navigating toxic relationships.
So much good stuff.
It's been quite a journey.
It has.
And we've extracted so many practical insights from this ancient text, you know?
Yeah.
That doesn't stop there. In this final part, we're going to explore like how to recognize hidden talents, the importance of self-cultivation, and why these ancient principles are still relevant in today's world.
Cool.
This next section of the text is about recognizing hidden talents and potential in others.
Okay.
It suggests that like true mastery lies not only in seeing people for who they are, but also in recognizing who they could become, which is really interesting.
Yeah, it's about looking beyond the surface, beyond someone's current skills and accomplishments, to see their potential.
Right.
This requires like keen observation, an open mind, and a willingness to believe in people, even when they might not believe in themselves.
It reminds me of that quote, "The best way to predict the future is to create it."
Oh, I like that.
It's about seeing the possibilities, not just the limitations.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And to illustrate this, the text highlights the story of Liu Bei, who recognized the hidden potential in Guan Yu and Zhang Fei. These two men were relatively unknown at the time and hadn't yet achieved, greatness.
Yeah.
But Liu Bei saw their loyalty, courage, and potential for leadership and took a chance on them.
It's a classic underdog story.
Yeah.
He saw something in them that others missed.
Right.
And that belief in their potential ultimately helped them achieve great things.
It did. Their alliance became a cornerstone in the founding of the Shu Han Kingdom.
Wow.
But beyond, individual stories like this,
Yeah.
what are some practical ways for our listener to recognize hidden potential in others?
It's a great question. It feels almost like a superpower, like being able to spot that diamond in the rough.
Yeah, well, the text suggests paying attention to those who demonstrate a strong work ethic and a willingness to learn and grow.
Okay.
They might not have all the skills yet, but they're eager to develop and improve.
So it's not necessarily about their current abilities, but their attitude and their drive to learn.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that potential for growth.
Right. Another tip the text offers is to look for individuals who possess natural curiosity.
Yeah.
And aren't afraid to ask questions. Oh, that's a good one. These individuals are often seeking to understand things at a deeper level. And that thirst for knowledge can be a powerful indicator of potential.
They're the ones who are always asking why and how.
Right.
Wanting to understand the underlying reasons and motivations.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And these qualities are often associated with a growth mindset. Yeah. And a potential for innovation.
It makes sense. Those who are curious are often the ones who come up with new ideas and solutions.
Yeah.
This next section of the text really resonated with me.
Oh, yeah.
It's about the importance of cultivating, your own character.
Okay, this is a central theme that runs throughout the text.
Yeah.
It emphasizes that true mastery of human interaction begins with self-mastery.
It reminds me of that Gandhi quote, be the change you wish to see in the world.
Ah, beautiful.
It starts with working on ourselves. Exactly. If you want to understand and influence others, you need to start by understanding and mastering yourself.
Right.
And the text highlights specific qualities that are crucial for, personal growth and development.
So let's unpack those. What are some of the key character traits the text emphasizes?
It starts with integrity.
Okay.
It stresses the importance of being honest, ethical, and true to your values, even when it's difficult.
So walking the talk, your actions need to align with your words.
Precisely. The text also emphasizes humility.
Okay.
Recognizing that you don't have all the answers.
Right.
Being open to learning from others. And not letting success go to your head.
Humility is so important. It keeps you grounded and open to growth.
Yeah.
What other qualities does the text highlight?
Empathy is another crucial trait.
Okay.
It's the ability to understand and share the feelings of others, to put yourself in their shoes and see the world from their perspective.
Empathy is essential for building strong relationships.
Yeah.
And navigating conflict effectively.
Absolutely.
If you can't understand where someone is coming from, it's hard to find common ground.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And finally, the text emphasizes the importance of resilience.
Okay.
The ability to bounce back from setbacks and challenges.
Yeah.
Life is full of ups and downs.
For sure.
And it's crucial to be able to, adapt, learn from your mistakes, and keep moving forward.
It's about having that inner strength and determination to persevere even when things get tough.
Exactly. And resilience isn't something you're, born with.
Right.
It's a quality that you cultivate over time through experience, self-reflection, and a willingness to embrace challenges as opportunities for growth.
We've talked about recognizing hidden talents in others and cultivating our own character.
Right.
All of this is incredibly insightful and relevant, even though this text was written centuries ago.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder, if human nature is, relatively constant, why are these insights still so relevant today?
That's a great question. While technology has advanced,
right,
and our world has changed dramatically, her fundamental principles of human nature remain the same.
Right.
We are still driven by the same basic needs, desires, and emotions.
For sure.
We still seek connection, belonging, purpose, and meaning.
Yeah.
And we still navigate the complexities of, power, influence, and social dynamics.
So while the tools might change, the game remains the same.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And that's why these ancient insights into human nature are still so valuable today.
Right.
They provide a framework for understanding ourselves and others.
Right.
Navigating relationships and achieving success in all areas of our lives.
I have to say, this deep dive into masters of understanding people has been a real eye-opener for me. I'm walking away with so many practical insights that I can apply to my own life, from understanding different personality types to building stronger relationships to recognizing and avoiding toxic behavior.
It's been an incredible journey, and I hope our listener feels the same way.
Yeah.
This text offers a timeless wisdom that can help us navigate the complexities of human interaction and create more fulfilling and meaningful lives.
Absolutely. So, dear listener, what resonated with you most in this deep dive? What are you going to do differently with this newfound knowledge? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Until next time, keep those people reading skills sharp. And remember, understanding others starts with understanding yourself.